very good. We can try planting them. You can put them in the soil if you want. Go put them around the poles, okay? Dig them in and put them in there. Maybe they'll grow. What do you think? It's finally a nice day outside, so I thought I would head out to the garden so we could see what's going on. As you can see, the sun is finally out today. It's still a little cold. The wind is a bit chilly, but I feel like in a week or two, maybe I'll be able to get into the garden and start working on things. Just to give you an idea of how quick the weather changes around here. This was last week when the kids and my husband were hauling some firewood. The ground was covered in snow. Everyone had to wear their winter gear. As beautiful as it is and as nice as the snow looks, it is not what we want to see at the beginning of April. My kids could not be happier to get outside and enjoy the sun now that the snow has almost fully melted, and just to take in all that this spring has to offer. Unfortunately, at the end of last summer, we were not able to shut down the whole garden. And I'm going to give you a bit of a garden tour, and I mean, it is quite the garden tour. There's a lot of weeds that need to be pulled, and just a lot of things that need to be fixed. It is a large garden, and sometimes it's just a bit too much for us to manage, especially when I had a newborn last summer and 3 other young kids. But I'm really excited to get started this year and tackle it and, do the best I can and see what I can obtain from this garden. And anything we get is just a blessing. So I'm looking forward to this summer and this garden season. Here's the garden that we have. This here, we have a little tempo cage that I put up, and we usually grow tomatoes here. I like to have some beans growing up the poles, so I can actually have some remnants of pole beans right here. I'm gonna have to clean this all up and get the wheelbarrow eventually. What I really like to do, if I step a bit further back, you could probably see, this whole bed here is my tomato bed. I have sunflowers that I tend to grow on the edges of it, and then I grow tomatoes inside, and I like to put some basil and parsley and dill and cilantro, just because the tomatoes provide a lot of shade, and those are crops that really need more shade, and this is a very sunny area. We get a lot of sun. There is not a lot of trees to block out the direct sunlight. So moving on from the tomato cage, we like to use landscaping fabric. I know there's a lot of polarizing views on landscaping fabric, but for us it works best because I just don't have the manpower or time to weed the whole garden. These beds have grown wild. So the first bed that you see just right here, this whole bed I usually grow cucumbers and zucchini and peas. A lot of my latticing kind of fell down throughout the winter, but I'll eventually tackle that and get it back up. I find peas grow best using this chicken wire. They really like to latch onto it. I even still have some, I don't know, what is this, beans that I grew here last year that I can probably, my kids like going through these and opening them up and getting the seeds from them. I really like these large sunflowers that branch. Again, I'm gonna have to tear that out and put it into the compost. But I love these because they bloom all summer long, so I like cutting them and making nice bouquets with them. Right over here, these 2 beds, so this bed right here goes long, and then this bed here, I normally grow peppers. So I like to freeze a lot of sweet peppers, and I also like to grow a lot of jalapenos to make cowboy candy, and I'll show you what that is eventually. This bed here is where we grow our garlic. So I actually wanted to do 2 full beds of garlic last year, but we just didn't get around to it. So this much garlic will last us probably about 3/4 of the year. Okay, now we're moving on to the chaos garden beds. Now, we had sort of an incident last summer that took us away from the garden for about a month, and some beds just could not be salvaged. So I have a lot of weeds to pick up in this bed here and this one here. What did you find? What are those?
Beans.
Yeah, you got some beans. Do you have beans too?
No, I have rocks.
Rock. Someone wanted to join us on our garden tour. So, we still have some snow even left here. So everything's just starting to melt in this crazy chaos. And I know it looks like a lot of chaos, but honestly, a lot of these plants, I let them grow out because I was letting them grow to seed. Okay, let's try to enjoy some of the fresh sun. We really ran outside early this morning. Didn't want to waste any of this nice weather. So moving on. So yeah, like I said, this bed here, honestly, it looks like chaos. I know it just looks crazy, but you will see the transformation in a couple months, and I'm so excited for that transformation. Over here, I have another garden bed. This is mostly herbs. So if I go close, you can see that there's a lot of cilantro seeds here. And I will get my kids to pick up a lot of these, put them in a basket or a bag, and I will replant them. Those are seeds that I need a lot of because we're constantly replanting that throughout the summer. And then at the end, I usually put sunflowers at the end of every bed so you can see the old ones. I like to collect them and then I give them to my kids, and they like to make little like teepees and huts with them. They'll do that soon enough probably. Then I have this last bed here. So this is, the whole bed faces south. We have this nice view behind us. The whole garden, I meant, faces south. And this last bed here, we grew watermelons, and we love growing watermelons in the summer. They grow nice and big and get really sweet. And obviously the kids enjoy them. I was able to put the baby down for a bit with her siblings so that we can move on to the rest of the garden. Over here, I have this chaos raspberry patch. I really like to call it a whole chaos garden because it is pretty chaotic. So this last year we had issues with groundhogs trying to get in, and my husband took all of these pallets and built this makeshift fence around it, which actually worked really well, and we were able to really benefit from this raspberry harvest. We had put these raspberries in haphazardly the first fall kind of that we moved here, and we didn't really think this plan through. So eventually I realized it's better for me to grow raspberries along sort of the edges of structures or in a line, not in this giant patch, because it becomes very difficult for me to get the ones in the center. But we get so many raspberries from this, and we do make some raspberry jam from our own raspberries, but my kids eat them on a daily basis. It's their snack in the summertime. So what we actually do is go raspberry picking when the season comes, and we're able to make a bunch of raspberry jam that I can and we can enjoy throughout the winter. We have a bunch of little pockets of other things that really start to pop up. So we have these are low bush blueberries that we planted all here. And then just around the corner, I have the blueberries are right over there. I have past the watermelons. I have another little section of blueberries as well. Blueberries really like acidic soil, so we took advantage of the spruce trees that we have and planted them nearby. Last year, or was it last year? No, towards the end of the previous summer. Oh, it's really sunny. I'm gonna put on some sunglasses. I started transplanting a lot of the raspberries over here. Oh, they're prickly. And I only moved a couple over and they just totally flourished and took off. I noticed that they do really well when they're facing, southeast. And they just took off. They totally spread along this shed or garage we have. And I'm hoping to continue spreading it along the back side of this fence here. So this is where the kids play though, in their fenced in backyard area. And I want to just continue spreading these because raspberries are probably one of my kids' favorite fruits. Okay, so while my kids, play and make noise behind me, I thought I'd take this opportunity to just go over a couple of goals that I have this year for my garden. I am not a self-sufficient gardener. My goal is not to provide for myself all year long, but rather it is to provide some of the better quality foods for my family. I also want to learn many skills that come with gardening. I also have really been trying to make my life easier with certain elements. It becomes very overwhelming as the summer moves on and as I start to produce so much in the garden. And I really have realized that I need to balance the time I spend with my kids and my family and the time I spend tending to the garden and, harvesting the food and processing it all. I don't want to be stressed out all summer trying to get everything I can out of my garden. I don't mind sharing my garden with some animals, some birds, whatever critter comes by, because I do produce quite a lot of food and I cannot go through it all. Although the garden looks like a mess right now, I'm really excited to get started with my planting this summer. I will be growing a lot of fruits and vegetables, and these will be things that we could eat fresh in the summer, as well as things that I can preserve and we can enjoy throughout the winter. So some of the main things I'll be growing are tomatoes, peppers, zucchinis, cucumbers, beans, peas, beets, watermelons, raspberries, blueberries, ground cherries, and much more. A goal I really set for myself this year is to grow more flowers. Last year, my girls and I really enjoyed cutting flowers, and we would find wild flowers around the property and make bouquets. So I'd love to grow things like zinnias, marigolds, straw flowers, and even more sunflowers that we can enjoy throughout the summer. I look forward to sharing this journey and to show you what I have to offer. And I also really look forward to learning from any recommendations that you may have.
Push it, it's barely moving.